Can you create groups and such things? Not that I'm aware of. But let's take a quick look and see if we can do it, because that's one thing that I do inside of Nuke all the time. To keep everything organized, I create groups. So let's see if we can collapse groups. I might be able to do it in 5. I don't think you can do it in 4. So I'm just going to open up. I'll just answer your questions right now. You guys saw me toy with it a little bit. I'll rebuild that stuff for the final. So let's just take some nodes and see if we can group these. View in 3D view, create output nodes, duplicate, reload sources, view in 2D, no. Let's take a look here. Yeah, I remember looking for it and I couldn't find it before, and I didn't get a clear answer from Allegorithmic. It wasn't like they said no. Yeah. Well, it looks like we might be wrapping up a little bit early, but let me see what questions you guys have. Crazy, but it was looking good. Control G didn't work. Yep, I tried that too. Oh, you found it. Right-click, add frame. Oh, okay. So it's not really grouping it, is it? I don't even see what you're saying. Right-click and add frame. Am I missing it, Christian? Oh, there we go. Add frame. Beautiful. So let's see if it actually picks these up. Awesome. Thank you, Christian. You taught me something today. All right, you guys. So throw your questions at me, and let's talk. Let me just show you, I guess, one last thing that you might want to know here. Here we go. And I'm going to load up this guy. Thanks for that, Christian. Seriously, that's awesome. Let's take the console and bring it back down here. There we go. All right. So say you don't want to work with the beach environment. This is just sort of anecdotal. Let's double click here and load that guy up. But if you come down to 3D view and go to environment, you can change up the environments by just dragging and dropping them into your 3D view. If the lighting isn't sitting the way you want it to, you can select the light node here, this little light control here, and rotate the light around your model so you can see how it's going to look. You can also import any HDR that you might have. Just make sure that you switch back to camera after you've started playing with the lights. Let's see, what was that? I believe it's just going to be a right-click here. Sorry, you guys. Let's go to edit, environment maps. Nope, that's fine. That's fine. I believe I was just dragging and dropping. There's a lot of stuff inside of Substance that's just drag and drop from your browser. And I believe I was just dragging and dropping HDRs into here. Those generators and patterns, do they have normal equivalents, or do I have to adapt them with a filter for that? As far as I know, you have to use a filter. I have not seen, for these noise generators here you're talking about, I've not seen, yeah, I've not seen a normal equivalent in here. Although it might be in some unexplored part of this for me, but no, I've not seen a normal equivalent. But I do believe there was a tangent normal filter in here. There we go, facing normal. Let's see how this works. We have time for a little bit of experimentation. So let's take fractal sum now. Let's take fluid, dirt, gradient. Let's just do dirt 4. So that's converting it to color. Is that what I'm saying? This might just be used for tuning normal maps, but we'll see. Let's see what happens when we drive it in normal. It doesn't look like it's giving us, yeah. It's still black and white. So I think even then, either that or I'm using the wrong filter. This might be a better one. Height normal blender. Nope, that's not going to be it either. Normal combined, so you can combine normal maps. Normal to height. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would be surprised if there was a utility like that, because here's the problem I'm seeing. All right, so you have a black and white pattern, right? That black and white pattern, to try and convert that into normal data, you don't have enough data in here to convert it, right? So, in other words, I can convert a normal map to grayscale, but I can't one-click convert grayscale to color, right? Does that make sense? Kind of like how it works in Photoshop, right? All right, you guys. Well, if you guys don't, I mean, do you have any more questions? Anything that we can explore together? Because if not, I'm going to go ahead and end our session early, and I'm going to pack Monday in with a bit more than what we're used to. So I didn't expect to go through the material quite so fast. Do you guys have any questions about your projects? All right, your assignment, this is what you need to do this weekend. You should build 2 to 3 substance materials to work with. You need to identify that on your character. So you should have your base skin. You might have multiple materials. You might have sort of like if you have a beak, you have teeth, right? You're going to need a separate substance for your teeth. You're going to need for your skin. You're going to need a separate substance for your eyes. Then you're going to need for your skin. If you have wings with feathers, you'll need a separate substance for those feathers. If you have bony protrusions, you know, as far as like horns or anything like that, you'll want to toenails. You'll want to build a separate substance material for those alone, right? So I'd say that's just covering, it's just like if you were doing materials inside of Maya. That's just covering your base color set. In addition, you'll want to think about adding dirt, grime. You can even do things like tattoos on your, on your character using substance. There's all sorts of stuff that you can, if you can think of it, I want you to explore it and come up with some materials that aren't just your base materials. I'd like to see some secondary things that we can use inside of Painter for effects, right? So there's effects that we can do inside of Painter that we can add secondary materials. We will be painting in those separate materials, like the materials for the horns and stuff like that, or I shouldn't say or, I say and. I'm going to show you how to use ID maps created inside of ZBrush to automatically assign materials to specific areas. There you go, Simon, with your unrelated questions, man. So did that make sense, what I just said? I'm not sure if I laid it out too clearly. Simon's completely unrelated question. Let's post that up. Completely unrelated, but just out of curiosity, if modeling something like the Predator, how do you think it would be best to model the net over the skin in ZBrush? I've always wondered and never seen a quick, easy solution, yet I've seen a lot of good ZBrush models of Predator with the netting over the skin. I've actually had 4 students that have done the Predator in the past. Everybody wants to make a model of the mesh, of the mesh net, the netting. I don't recommend doing that. What I recommend doing is creating planar topology and using a transparency map to accomplish the effect of having a net. Your poly count just shoots through the roof the minute you try and model a net. And it's impossible to, I wouldn't say impossible, it's difficult to rig, especially for a game. And that's for like netting that's hanging over. Otherwise, I would sculpt it in. And you just have to do a great job of sculpting it in. You can do that by doing netting, say with something like nanomesh. You can kind of do it with. You can do it with yeah, you could do it with nanomesh, like build the netting and then use Match Mover to conform it to the skin and then project it so that you have the pattern there and then go back in and sculpt it onto the skin. But that's kind of how you would do it. You would make a flat piece. You make a flat piece, and you can actually, you know what, I don't know why I'm complicating it. You can use ZModeler to do it with. So take a plane that has maybe, you know, I don't know, like 1,000 polys or 2,000 polys, or maybe it's like 500 polys, but whatever that might be. And then do an inset by each face, which will create a new poly group. Then you'll want to punch a hole in the mesh, right? And then you can use the Match Mover brush to project onto the surface. In fact, we got a little bit of time. I'm just trying to think of different ways for you to do it. So let me pull this up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. You guys can still see my screen okay? All right. So, in fact, I think I have an old version of your dude loaded up in this version of my dude. All right, so there's your guy, and you want to do some netted mesh. Let's go ahead and start with a plane. So let's go plane 3D. So their wireframe, actually, that should be perfect. And let's make Polymesh 3D. Let's do double-sided display here. Bring up the Z-Modeler brush. And let's QMesh Flat Island. So I'm going to make this about the thickness that I want for the netting. Holding down Control-Shift, let's hide the edges. Oh, come on, buddy. There we go. All right, let's make that one polygroup. Make that another polygroup. Bring it back. All right, now let's hover over face. I'm going to say Inset, Polygroup All. I want it to say Inset each polygon inset region. So I'm going to inset each face. QMesh. Not Flat Island. I want to QMesh Polygroup All. Then I'm going to go ahead and uncrease all. So I don't want any creases on this. Let's go into our dynamic subdivisions. And you can play around with the thickness and size and all that stuff. But let's go ahead and take this now and go over to your creature. Say append. Let's reduce the thickness on this. Go to geometry. And I'm going to apply the dynamic subdivision. Whenever I'm in another program, I always feel like I'm betraying ZBrush. That does sound weird. All right, so let's go here and let's scale this down so that we don't have anything overhanging. It was just a random thought that was passing through my brain. So using Matchmaker, starting to conform to the mesh. Now you'll have to play with the Z intensity, and you'll probably still have to do some nudging to get it completely conforming to the surface. Right? But this at least will give you a decent start. Let me try it again and see what happens. It's probably gonna, yeah, it's gonna disappear. Let's reduce the focal shift. Anyways, I think you get the picture, yeah? Does that give you some direction to go to kind of figure that out? I mean, obviously you don't want it straight, you want it rotated because it should be diamond shaped, it shouldn't be square shaped. You know, you'll want it like this. You can trim off the sides there. All right, you guys. So that's it for today. Are you guys clear on the assignment that you need to do with Substance? Make all your materials. Make that bone material. Make that tooth material. Make that, I have to make shell material. I have to make dirt and grime materials. You'll have to do the same. All right? So think dirt, grime, and all the different materials on the surface of your character. Even the interior of the mouth, right? If you have a tongue in there, you'll want a different material on the inside of your mouth than you want on the surface of your skin. Just like if you were to shade it for V-Ray. You'll want all these different materials to work with. And then we'll end up bringing those into Substance. We can also create masks inside of Designer, which could speed things up inside of Substance Painter. But that's it, you guys. And thank you for being so patient with all the glitches throughout this class, me getting sick and everything else. You guys are hanging in there, and you're awesome. I would like to see your progress, even though I'm going to go through and do a lecture on Monday. So please, please, please throw your stuff up on the discussion board, and let's have a look-see. I want to see where you guys are at. All right. And also go ahead and post your, when you get your materials going, go ahead and post those up. You can just throw them on a queue, or if you want to throw them on your character and kind of take a screenshot of it, and that way I can at least see how you guys are tackling your materials, right? And give you some feedback on it. All right, so I will catch you guys on Monday. You have a beautiful weekend, and I'm really excited to see what you guys do. As always, thank you so much for being here today. Take care.